Hello, everybody. I'm Mario Linhares, and this is the 13th episode of SIPS of Science. I'm broadcasting from Cabo Frio, Brazil, and I have the honor to have with me Dr. Florian Kongoli from Montreal and Professor Raj Das from Melbourne, Australia, 3 different time zones. And let's start talking. Let's start the show. I'll talk to you right after the video. Hello, everybody. I'm Mario Linhares, and I'm back now with Dr. Florian Kongoli from Montreal. It's morning in Montreal because we're recording this in the today, Thursday morning. And good morning, Dr. Florian. How are you?
Good morning, Mario. It's 9 a.m. here.
Yeah, it's 10 a.m. in Rio de Janeiro. And in Melbourne, Australia, it's 11 p.m., right, Professor Raj Das?
Yes, absolutely. It's 11 p.m., yes, in Melbourne, Australia. And thank you for that.
Very good. So, as I said, I've got here Professor Raj Das, our guest today. And we are going to be talking about the Trovalusci International Symposium, Multiscale and Multiphysics Modeling of Complex Materials. And to start our talk, I'd like to show everybody this video about the symposium. But first, I would like to thank you very much for your audience. And I would suggest you to subscribe to the channel. Just leave a thumbs up here in the video because this will help a lot to promote science, technology, and sustainability. So let's take a look at the Trovalusci International Symposium. That's it. That's the Trovalusci International Symposium. Dr. Florian, good morning. Let's talk a little bit about, before we go into the symposium, let's talk a little bit about SIPS, the Sustainable Industrial Processing Summit and Exhibition, Sustainability through Science and Exhibition, through Science and Technology. Hello, Dr. Florian.
Yes, so again, we are here in 3 continents. You are in South America, in Rio de Janeiro. I am in North America, in Montreal, and Raj is in Melbourne, Australia. So we have a triangle all over the world. So we are here. It is 9 a.m. Yours is 10 a.m. and Raj is 11 p.m. Temperature here is 15. Yours, I don't know what it is. What's yours, Mario?
Well, my temperature right now is, let me see here, 25 degrees. Actually, I'm in Cabo Frio. I'm 3-hour drive from Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah. And what's the temperature there, Raj?
It's about 18 degrees. 18. So we are just coming out of winter and entering the spring. So it's quite nice weather now. You can go for a walk in midnight.
Yeah. So you are both in the south hemisphere. I am in the north hemisphere.
Exactly.
We are covering in triangle the entire world. Huh?
Yeah, but the interesting thing is actually we are exactly in the equinox. So we have the same length of light, basically. So the same. I think it's tomorrow, right? The beginning of spring / fall. I'm not sure. I think it's the 23rd, isn't it? Probably.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think it's tomorrow. So we are 1 day away from the equinox. So, well, it's a big pleasure to have both of you here to talk about SIPS. And you started talking, Dr. Florian, about SIPS. And as I said, the event that is going to take place in Phuket, Thailand, from the 27th of November to the 1st of December. And as we usually say, it's a 360-degree approach on science and technology. And you have a very interesting figure. If you want to send a man to live on another planet, to have a community on Mars, everything that you need, you talk at SIPS. So, and this is a great example. We have Professor Das with us today. Yes, and his applications, yes, are a lot focused on probably using his things to take people to live on Mars. Is this a possibility? I don't know, but the rest you've got. So talk a little bit about about this concept.
The framework, yes, the framework.
Yeah, the framework.
Well, actually, it is based on Flogen sustainability framework since the start. Just a short history. The definition of sustainability has been really confusing for the last several years. The criteria with actors, with pillars, were mixed up together. Everybody was putting in the concept of sustainability everything they hold dear. There's nothing wrong with that. They're putting culture, they're putting indigenous rights, they're putting you name it, everything, government, everything that is important, and nothing wrong with that. Everybody, has something dear in his heart, and it has to be considered in the concept of sustainability. However, we are putting all pears and apples in one basket, and nobody was understanding what are the criteria, what are the actors, and so on. So that's why we divided criteria from actors or pillars. So we have a very concise sustainability framework, very simple. That includes it's all inclusive, includes everything. So basically, we have three criteria of sustainability. First is protection of environment, economic growth or development, and social development. So these are equally important. And to be sustainable, you have simultaneously satisfy all these criteria, the kind of triangle in the middle there that you see. So if you forget economic growth, forget it, you are not sustainable. If you forget social advancements and social quality of life, you are not sustainable. And if you don't protect the environment, you are not sustainable. So these are all equally important in order to be sustainable. But these are, careful, they are criteria of sustainability. So what are the factors that can help achieve these criteria or hinder or destroy the concept of sustainability? And these are not criteria, these are the factors, these are the actors, these are the pillars. And the pillars are three: science and technology, governance and management, and education and civil society. So it's a table with three pillars. So any of the pillars goes away, the entire structure falls down. So the three pillars are equally important. However, there is an order of precedence. We have to start with science and technology, because science and technology give the solutions. There is no government in the world that can, with a political decision, they say, okay, let's protect the environment. Sure, there are space that we can work on this, save a little bit the water, protect, gather the waste, and put some taxes on it. But the effect of science and technology, the efficiency of science and technology to achieve sustainability is much higher, much effective than any other means. It gives various solutions. If the government have no solution, forget it. It's just, mostly lip services with very few effect. So science and technology is very important. And SIPS is based on that. So we start with science and technology. but we deal with governments and management, and also the education, which are equally important, as we mentioned, because as long as we have the solution, government has a big role to play, and the management, if you in the private companies and in institution and any organization, you have to manage it sustainably. But also education is equally important, because you have to prepare the young generation in science and technology and in governance. So basically, they are equally important themes. But in this framework, everything falls there. There is nothing that doesn't fall there. For example, that's why the 360 degrees of SIPS. We start from geology, mining, mineral processing, extraction, refining, new materials, advanced materials, nanomaterials, nanotechnologies, technologies in medicine, and law and politics. So we have a symposium of law dedicated to a famous Washington D.C. lawyer this time. Basically, this is what you mentioned, that if we send an astronaut in a different planet or in the moon, you have to take care of all this. You have to take from the minerals, from geology, from analysis, from legal aspects, and very important, structure, material structure that symposium is about, and also that Professor Das' specialty. He's a well-known specialist in the structure, in mechanical structures. You cannot imagine to send something in a different planet and you don't count on the mechanic of structures. Starting from the machine going there, living there, moving there, building there. That is impossible. So this is multiphysics and multi-field, modeling of these structures is actually not a particular field of science, but is a method which applies everywhere, in all these 360 degrees I mentioned, multiphysics modeling and multi-field modeling. It is applicable everywhere. It's applicable in aeronautics, where the specialty of Professor Das is, and this has direct impact on sustainability. If we have lighter structures, structures that they have a longer fatigue, and they are more resistance to the environment, and they are done in a certain way that can make everything lighter, from the airplanes to the rockets that going to different planets. So everything is I'm still concentrating on the application, but the method is multiphysics. Why multiphysics? Because physics has different fields, and multi-fields because it's not just physics, it's chemistry, it's grains, it starts from the molecular level or electronic structure, etc., and goes to the macrostructure and the utility. So this is basically what SIPS is about, bringing together methods that are applicable in various fields.
Very good.
And this falls in this triangle, in this sustainability framework. Science and technology, Professor Das and Professor Trovalusci, that we are dedicating the symposium, they are basically research in science and technology. So one of the pillars is covered. On the other side, we don't have government here, but we have the education. Professor Das also this part of university, and he educates the new generation and train the new generation in science and technology. So since Professor Trovalusci is not here today, and then we're going to have another live later, we also will tackle also the government and the management issues. So this is where we are. This is the framework.
Excellent. Excellent.
So that you asked me about.
Very good. Very good. And as you said, today we're going to talk about multiscale multiphysics modeling of complex materials. And to talk about it, we have, as I said, a very prestigious guest, Professor Raj Das from the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology. He leads the Advanced Mechanics and Materials group in the Aerospace Engineering and Aviation discipline of the School of Engineering of the RMIT University in Australia. He is also an honorary academic in the University of Auckland, New Zealand, and a principal investigator of the Sir Lawrence Weckett Aerospace Research Center of the RMIT University, and also an adjunct academic of the University of Quebec, Canada. He serves as the chair of the National Committee of Applied Mechanics of the Engineers Australia, in Australia, and he has more than 15 years of experience in design, analysis, and optimization of aerospace materials and structures, with a focus on computational simulation, composite structures, failure analysis, and damage tolerance optimization for civil and defense applications. He is a PhD from the Monash University, Australia, in structural optimization and failure analysis. And he's previously worked in the University of Auckland, the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization, and the University of Manchester. And he's published more than 200 papers in international journals and conferences in collaboration with several universities, institutes, and industries. Welcome, Professor Das. Wow. Let me get, I need some water to take the breath after this very intense biography.
You can have some Brazilian coffee.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Great. Let me have some water here. Well, thank you very much for being here today. And what an exciting field. Good evening for you, right? Good morning for us. But since we are going to watch this tonight, yes, 10 o'clock p.m. GMT, it will be good morning for you. So, hello.
Hello, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be able to, meet you, Dr. Kongoli and Mario, you, and to be able to share my views on this very important topic, which is science, technology, and sustainability, how they kind of interact with each other. Yes, I'm very glad to be here.
Very good. Well, let's start. Say what are the applications? We are going to imagine somebody's watching this video and says, "Wow, SIPS, Sustainable Industrial Processing Summit and Exhibition. Good date, 27th of November to 1st of December. Beautiful place." I always say that P of SIPS stands for paradise, and we're going to see a little bit of it in this program. Yes, an excellent, a beautiful place. And I'm going to have a great symposium here. Let's see the multiscale multiphysics modeling of complex materials. What are we going to see in this symposium? What are the applications of multiscale and multiphysics modeling of complex materials, Professor?
Yeah, thank you, Mario. Before I start explaining the words, what is multiscale means and what multiphysics means, let me tell you a very short story about one of my colleague who is a senior professor at our university. So he shared me his views when he migrated from Europe, from UK to Australia. And he told me he was fortunate enough, he didn't have to come by a ship, which would have taken him 3 months to come from UK to Australia. He came by plane. So there was, aircraft was invented and it was operational between UK and Australia. But he said it took him still 1 week to come from UK to Australia by plane. And when I asked why you were in a plane for 1 week, I have never heard of this. He told me he had to take stopover in 3 places. So he had to come from UK to first somewhere in Africa, from Africa to somewhere in between Asia, and then Asia to finally Australia. So here is the story goes. And now we can fly from UK to Australia within 24 hours. But it is still 24 hours and it is still 2 flights. So before we think about, Mars or establishing an outer space colony, let's think about what we prefer as convenient. We are proposing a flight now from Perth or Melbourne in Australia to London, it's a one straight flight. Within 16 to 19 hours, it would reach UK. So we have reduced that 7-day flight travel to a 24-hour travel. And how do you think it's possible? It's possible because of two things. One is excellent, advanced, multifunctional, very strong, lightweight materials, advanced manufacturing methods to build an aircraft or a plane, and finally, the advanced technology, which is obviously can drive us from Australia to UK within 20 hours. So this all was, people were thinking like a kind of a magic or a kind of a science fiction, a couple of maybe 50 years, 60 years, 70 years back. But it's all reality. Now, when somebody talks to us and tells, look, one day you can buy land on moon, or you can have an apartment on Mars, we think it's a science fiction. But I can tell you, one day it's going to be reality. And what's behind it? It's behind all of these is excellent technological development. And one of the key pillars of the technology is the next generation materials we are producing, a next generation design, engineering technology we are developing, and then we have excellent boom in manufacturing technology. You have learned about things like Industry 4.0, additive manufacturing, composite materials. So these buzzwords, and now we also hear about things like digital twins. And I will try to put this all in pieces together to drag it to what we are talking about, this multiscale multiphysics modeling of complex materials. So the conclusion is the materials are becoming more and more complex. We are stretching their limits. If they were expected to last 5 years, now we are expecting them to last 10 years, 20 years. The structures are far more complex. Compare the Wright brothers aircraft with what you see a Boeing 737, or if you talk about the military aircraft range, think about F-35, the latest next generation fighter aircraft, or think about the drones. We see how they're operating in an almost automatic fashion. Now, of course, these are all not for only materials and manufacturing, but they do play a significant role in operation of these structures, in the design, development, and deployment of the structure. And what is important, that if we have to realize our dream to establish a colony in Mars or any other planet whatsoever, what we have to make sure that we live on Earth for a long period of time. And that is only possible with the magic word. We have to embrace sustainability. And which can help us to embrace it? It's the science and technology. So this sustainability is, as I understand, is the heart of SIPS. Now, in terms of applications, look, I have been talking a lot about aeronautical applications, space applications, but it can apply to really any engineering field. Of course, aeronauticals and space is an area I talk a lot, because my mission of my research is to design new materials and structures for high performance application in aerospace industry, and that's what drives my research basically. So that's what I give mostly examples from aerospace. However, if you think about electric cars, for example, nowadays some governments, some countries are talking about changing completely from fossil fuel, petrol or diesel cars to completely electric cars. And we have seen this happening in the roads. Now, if you have a chance to go inside an electric car, you'd see is exceedingly complex. It's all automated. It's all nothing manual almost, including the auto control. Now, and if you look at the materials being used in those cars and the design, it's significantly different from we are used to. We are using lightweight materials, for example, composites a lot. We have removed all the heavy metals. And when you make some things lightweight, it can run faster and it can last long. And that's what we want. We want extreme performance. And it applies to any other industry like mining. So if we talk about the sustainability, some key pillars of sustainability is space, of course, one, then environment, then, of course, energy. And if you look into the energy industry, an energy crisis is a key issue now. If we want to extract non-conventional energy, if we want to extract materials like minerals from extreme environment, we need extreme technologies to extract those. For example, oil, gas, if you rely on conventional fossil fuel, or if you want to rely on renewable energy. So all of these areas, the summary is we are relying on increasingly complex structures and complex applications of those. So that really kicks us or makes the engineers and scientists to think, what is at our disposal which we can deploy, what weapons we can deploy to address these complex requirements, almost automated structure, high performance, structures which will last significantly longer, like fatigue life, operational performance, extreme temperature, or extreme environment in space, or extreme conditions in an underground mine. And when you think about these structures, one thing comes into our mind. At the end of the day, everything is governed by fundamental laws of science, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics. And if you look at science, everything actually has got multiple scales embedded in it, and I will highlight that later. However, also multiphysics. So nothing can be described by chemistry or physics or biology. It's all combination. It's interactive environment we live in when we talk about complex design. And finally, what actually shoots all of this is the significant advancement of this high-speed computing. One thing was sometimes at some 10 years, 20 years before, we couldn't have imagined that we can create what we call now, the buzzword is digital twin, a digital twin of a full-scale aircraft or a spacecraft or a whole automotive car, which we can do now. And that's the significant advancement of computers and computing technology. In our hand, with the iPad or with a even mobile, it has got a significant computing power than we had in a large mainframe computers, even 30 years back. So with that computing power, when you amalgamate or marry this marriage of this computing power with this fundamental science advancement in multiple physics and multiple scale effects, that gives us the real tool to address these challenging problems, not only in aeronautical or space, but also in every walks of our life, which affects our society, our lifestyle, and our next generation world. And sustainability is the heart of everything we do. So that's kind of probably give you a background of the applications of this triangle.
Wow, that was fantastic. I'm really impressed, and I'm going to be very honest. I'm going to be at the symposium, and I was taking a look here. I usually say, Dr. Florian, that SIPS, we can meet some of the greatest minds in the world in this exhibition. As you said, today we would have a clear understanding of what you usually say about sending an astronaut to another planet. Yes,
it's a complex
really
phenomenon.
impressive.
And that's SIPS. That's all. What Professor Das said exactly. I'm happy he mentioned that, because that's exactly SIPS. We are bringing, we are building bridges between different fields of science. As I usually say, we have divided the different fields of science in different disciplines because of our ignorance. But SIPS is bringing them together: physics, chemistry, you name it. There is no organic, inorganic. It's just one chemistry. And there is no only chemistry, but it's also physics and chemistry are interrelated. It's just, it's a different way of looking at them. So SIPS bring them together. So in other words, SIPS is kind of multi-physics and multi-field and multi-dimensional and if I keep saying multi, it's multi-country, multicultural, and multi-dimensions in science. So there is one science. All these divisions has come because of our ignorance, and now SIPS is going in the other direction and bringing them together. And multiphysics that Professor Das said, is exactly goes in the same direction. So life is not only physics, not chemistry, or not this and that. It's everything. But we don't think that way. If we send an astronaut outside, then it is much easier to think that way. This is one point. And want to follow up on Professor Das, what he said. He made an excellent overview of application of his field of research. But what it starts at the fundamentals, at the research at the fundamental scale. So, some symposium here, multiphysics and multi-field modeling, looks totally theoretical, just academic field, and looks away from normal people. Actually, it is not. And Professor Das just mentioned all the applications. But to go to those applications, you have to start from the fundamentals, from the modeling, from the electronic structure, grain structures, everything that's related to that. So there is a basis on that. So that's why the symposium we're speaking here on complex materials modeling includes all those fields, you have it here. It describes all the scope and topics in a different angle, although they look so theoretical. But this is the basis of all those applications that Professor Das mentioned. So everything starts from here. So it is a unified SIPS. That's what it does. So it takes fundamental science, makes a link with application, because that makes it sustainable. And all the applications that Professor Das said start exactly from here. And these fields here are covered at this symposium, and these are the fields also of Professor Trovalusci, not in space industry or in aeronautics, but also she mostly deals in the structures, in building structures, but still the fundamentals are the same. So the field of application is a little bit different. We'll have another chance probably with her because in another life. But the entire thing is a unified fundamental science for all these subjects. You have to start with this. If you don't know the electronic structure, you don't know the grain, if you are not able to model that, because you cannot do everything with experiment. You can. It will take long. Some of the methods are not available. Sometimes it takes long. So modeling, especially as Professor Das said, through the new power of computing, now is much easier and helps a lot. Sometimes you cannot prove exactly through experiments in the practice. You can see only the results, but that's good enough. And this shorten the distance from the fundamentals to the application. So,
for sure.
when you are at SIPS, when you have all field of science, you have a mathematics symposium. Mathematics deals with new mathematical, formulas and theorems, but also modeling. And this can be applicable in multiphysics modeling, in multi-field modeling, and you have also, extraction of different materials from minerals. Any new materials it's a chemical component. Chemical component has to be extracted somewhere, has to be extracted from the minerals, has to be extracted anywhere. So, but when you create this new material, you have to, to work in different ways. You can think of when you're extracting it to have a certain composition, certain physical properties in order to serve the modeling of Professor Das and Professor Trovalusci in order to shorten the difference, the time of application. So this is a general way of saying it. But SIPS offers all the sciences in one roof, So there is a interaction, but mostly it is synergy. If you are able to use the synergy between science, chemistry, physics, computing, IT, extraction of metals, and nanotechnologies and nano at the scale of nanomaterials to and intelligent materials. All these are based on new materials. We say nanotechnology, we say intelligent, but at the end of the day, it ends up with materials. So everything we speak, everything we touch, it's materials. Now, these are the existing materials, but science can create new materials, lighter, that last longer, and this is exactly the sustainability. Because if you are producing material that lasts longer, is lighter, you spend less energy, spend less energy in recycling. Recycling is good, but if you are able to produce new materials that last longer, so you shorten, you don't need too much recycling. So the efficiency, the recycling takes energy also. And since Professor Das mentioned the energy that is a crisis today, unfortunately, I keep saying this, but in Germany, the entire political class failed. They closed down all nuclear reactors. Based on what? Based on risk and waste processing. It's because nuclear is clean energy. But okay, because there is a risk, there is a waste. Risk and waste is science who deals with. So if you forget science, so they ignored science. Okay, because of risk and waste, let's close down all nuclear reactors. And here we have the crisis today. So you can use also in the transition to the new renewable energy. You can use the existing technologies if you are able to capture CO2, if you are able to use CO2 to transform it in a different useful, components. So there are so many things to use the transition, and this comes through science and technology. This comes through multiphysics modeling and multi-field modeling at any stage, from the electronic structure to the macro structure. So this is the power of this, from fundamental to the application. But we have to start with fundamentals, and this is the part of the symposium. It's not just theory; it is a theory with a vision to be applied in this planet, in future planets, and also to shorten the distance, as Professor Das said, between London and Perth or Melbourne. When I traveled for the first time in Australia, I think it was 1997. It was I don't remember which one but I think it was not through London. It was with one stop. Anyway,
this comparison that Professor Das made about, how long it took to get from the United Kingdom to Australia. This was fantastic. I've never seen this comparison, Professor Das. It's something really amazing.
And some of the things the science and technology does, as Dr. Kongoli mentioned, look, many of us love this thing all the time, which is kind of our mobile. And this is what we use every day, but we don't think behind the screen we have got an excellent fundamental physics and chemistry for the materials and the semiconductor technology, and this liquid crystal, which is a high level of fundamental physics. Without this liquid crystal technology, semiconductor, what the physicists call solid state physics, without that we won't have a mobile phone. So that's why everything comes from fundamental science. When you type a word in a search engine, we get all this information. We click, whole world is our fingertips now. We don't have to go to library. But we don't think about the computer science and mathematical algorithms the scientists have developed. Like they are the behind the scene heroes.
Exactly.
Which have come up with this, and what we see is like a final production, like a movie, and these are the crew members, which work so hard to develop this. So if you want to appreciate this technological development, and if you have to survive, sustain the next generation, you need to understand the basics. And SIPS, when I looked at the program, it has got everything in it. It has got a fundamental science, a lot of physics topic, mathematics topic, starting their engineering topic. For example, multiscale, multiphysics, as you can imagine, nothing is single physics, right? We are sitting here, we're talking in this remote meeting. Our acoustics, we are hearing each other. That's a acoustic, that's a radio physics, telecommunication. We are seeing each other, that is optics and video communication. So it starts from fundamental acoustics to telecommunication, to radio engineering, to electronics engineering, electrical engineering. So you can see these science and technology are so well connected, and we can't leave one from another. And to appreciate that, what we created in Australia, when we do science or research projects, they ask us to define, it's a kind of a jargon, but I will tell, they call it technology readiness level, or TRL. It's a number 1 to 10. If we are doing basic science, we say it's 1. That means we are doing on the fundamental science. If the technology is ready to be produced and deployed and implemented, we call it number 10 level. So this scale shows you how intimately connected they are. And these are all multiphysics phenomena. And when you talk about the scale, what the scale means that we have all studied, if you want to develop a material, everything at the end of the day are made of atoms and molecules, which we can't even see with the most powerful electron microscope. So they are in the nanometer angstrom order. But what we deal with our materials, they are millimeter, meter, kilometer in terms of length. So that shows nothing is on a single dimension in terms of length or in terms of time. You have heard about this quantum clock.
Yes.
They operate in a femtosecond level, which is an atomic phenomenon, and we live in seconds, minutes, and hours. So there is a huge scale difference in time scale and the length, the dimensions we live in. And we know that if we talk about fourth dimension, or what we used to call the space as a fourth dimension, and that adds more complexity to physics, which we will not talk in an engineering sense, like Big Bang theory and so forth, and relativity, which is the creation of the brainchild of Einstein. They also shows us how complex our world is, and if we do not connect multiscale, multiphysics effect, we won't be able to understand. And another thing I would highlight, what is very impressive about SIPS is this brings together many components of science and technology. And we all know we are all searching for the Holy Grail, which is a unified theory, one theory which will explain all, one size which will fit all. So that theory is still not found. And if you, just to recall, again, referring to Einstein. So Einstein, in his last stage of his life, he started to work on this unified theory, which will connect everything we see in the universe. But that's not yet been found. So if you are interested in really, science has no limit, imagination has no limit. Where are we heading? We don't know. Many of the things which are going to be developed in the future generations still unknown. So if you are heading for this, unified theory, or what is coming, what will be the next generation technology which you will have access to. Maybe you won't have to do many things. There will be all automated, and humans and automation and robotics, robotics, they will kind of mix with each other. And the basis of that would be all these multiscale, multiphysics phenomena of complex systems. So that's why the SIPS has got this significance. And what I can draw from my experience in aerospace industry, look, 50 years before, our design manual, when we are creating an airplane, we were asked to, like a recipe, we were asked to do thousands of tests for even small components. Every component we make, we take it to the lab, we create a test, we measure the test data, we decide if that component can be certified to go in the plane. Now, we are in a world where many parts, aircraft, spacecraft, all of these have become much more complex. That's number one. As a result, for many of the parts, we can't do a real experimental physical design, build, and test. What we have to rely on? We have to rely on what we call a computer replica or a digital twin of that component. And we do testing in computer. And with the computing power and with the quality of the simulation and modeling tools, we can rely on them, we can trust their results. So what we effectively are doing, we are skipping the experimental, long, hard, expensive testing procedures. We are just replacing with computer-based design and computer-based testing of a digital twin. Obviously, we have to do physical tests at certain checkpoints, which we are doing, which cannot be removed, at least in the coming many years. But what we have removed, a lot of intermediate tests with digital twin, computational simulations. And these simulations are developed on what foundation? Is the foundation of multiscale, multiphysics phenomena, which our whole world behaves based on those. So we are using the computing power to reduce the cycle time of designing something new material, new structure, new manufacturing technology, and bringing all of them together in a unified way for a fast production time. So we can move faster effectively. We can beat the time. If 50 years ago, you think about a colony in Mars or Moon, you will think that will probably happen 500 years later. But now with the rapid speed of technology development, I will say in a few coming generations, that dream may be realized. So that's where we are. So when I think about all of this happening, it's an exciting world we are in, and SIPS brings all of these key scientific and technological elements together. So if I think myself...
Professor, let me just interrupt you. So are you saying that you believe that until the end of the century, this will be possible?
I can't say that. It's a very hard question, but with the rapid progression of technologies, fundamental science, and rapid progression of all this technology, fundamental science, and our tireless effort to promote sustainability, which is very important because we have to save our earth. Earth is our home. Okay, so we have to live here. We have to save our planet first. So with this focus, I believe by end of the century, the significant progress will be made, if not fully realizable, something like a colony on another planet.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please repeat it?
Okay. Now, we talked a lot in the past minutes about engineering and all that. And last week, it was the International Day of Engineering. And we launched a video here and on SIPS of Science. And I would like to play this video again because this talk today, yes, we really have to honor and distinguish all this work that has been made, all this development possible. So with you guys here, a video saying how fundamental engineering is.
Flogen meetings are unique in the sense that they combine science, engineering, and fun.
Here they talk science, they talk engineering, they talk technology.
And indeed the very relations between the science, the engineers and the politicians. That is a framework which is absolutely essential.
It's very important for me to understand how interact, let's say, the science with the sustainability and the social responsibility.
I meet a lot of people, normally not used to meet. It should be nice to actually meet them and have a discussion longer with them.
And when you bring people together with different backgrounds and different interests, you create new technology and directions, and that's very important.
It's been an interesting conference in which we had met and had interesting discussions.
We've had some excellent discussions, talk about things that need to happen, things that clients need that we have not done yet. There's some very positive developments going to come from the people that are here working together.
Has been very, very useful in establishing very successful collaborations that we have had. This, in my opinion, is very unique.
Very good results. I'm really excited and very happy to be here present.
More engineers are present at this conference. We have so many problems in the world, and engineers finally need some recognition that they are only possible to solve problems, and that also the industry becomes aware about that some business models will not work in the future anymore.
So you can see how different companies not only incorporate in their vision the sustainability of a guide.
I think it always helps to get new views of everything. Being a manager is really about building strong teams, and this is what you do here. This is team working, this is connecting.
Until the chance you can work together. Wow, wonderful. If it's not, still you'll be able to learn more, the network of the people from different industries. It's this tremendous reward.
Something of this type allows us to expose our effort to other engineers for criticism, for suggestion, for improvement. So it's a continuous scientific process that can, in my opinion, can only be done, in any case, can be best done by a summit such as one organized by this magnificent conference.
Well, that's it. That's the Sustainable Industrial Processing Summit and Exhibition, Sustainability Through Science and Technology, from the 27th of November to the 1st of December in Phuket, Hilton Arcadia, right? Or Hilton
Phuket Arcadia.
Yeah, that's a Hilton Phuket Arcadia. I always mix that up. In Phuket, Thailand, and we'll be there, right, Dr. Florian, Professor Raj Das, and Dr. Florian. I usually say that P of SIPS stands for paradise, and I would like to talk to you and Professor Das about how important is it to get engineers, to get scientists, to get professors out for a little bit from academia, from a laboratory, and place into a magnificent paradise resort, as you've been doing since 2003. I mean, San Diego, Cancun, Rio de Janeiro, Paphos, and many other beautiful places.
Thailand, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some of the most paradise cities in the world. That's why I always say that P of SIPS stands for paradise. What's the magic? And Professor, right after you answer this, I would like to have Professor Das go straight ahead and say, how important is it for a scientist to meet other scientists in an environment like this of beautiful nature, exquisite nature, where you have a lot of work, but at night you can have maybe dinner overlooking beautiful ocean, for example. So Dr. Florian first, and then Professor Das.
Yeah, two components in what you said, the two reasons why we do that. So let's start first with, Professor Das mentioned he showed his cell phone. Everybody likes his cell phone. You cannot stay without cell phone today. But behind that cell phone, not only multiphysics modeling and fundamental science, but also are scientists and engineers, which we take them for granted. Scientists and engineers are the ones that develop the world in literal terms. Sure, art and design and everything is useful and very necessary. But at the end, the fundamentals of development come from science and technology and engineering. So the actors are scientists and engineers. Unfortunately, although they have so fundamental role, without them the society cannot work. Without that science, these things that is so much loved from from young generation to 90 years old people will not exist. However, without scientists, this not only this not exist, but the problem is, we forget them who developed this magnificent that increase the quality of life of human beings. They are scientists, engineers. They do not get the credit they deserve. Sure, we respect each other. I respect Professor Das. He respects me. We scientists respect each other, but we are mostly in a bubble. In the society, we are not credited as we should be. And SIPS is one component of SIPS is honoring science and engineers at the level, bringing them at the importance at the level of the society. Working with politicians and all segments of society to understand why scientists and engineers have to have the right credit, not because of the pleasure, but because of a very important factors. Number of scientists and engineers today in the world, students in science and engineering is going down because science is not considered like a preferred subject, like a preferred profession. Why? Because one of the concepts and one of the ideas is that the scientists work like horses and get credits like mouses. So actually it is true. And then we are trying to change. SIPS is one has been working since 2003 in this direction. We are honoring people working in science. That's why Professor Trovalusci is being honored for her lifetime, lifetime achievement in science and contribution, especially when they retire, and then we honor them. But the other point is, society is sometimes it goes from perceptions, and perceptions are important. The perception is that they go so deep that when you see TV and movie stars in five-star hotels making a very magnificent life, so this sends a wrong impression, like to be an actor and to be a musician and to be it's easy, and actually it's not true. It requires a hard work, but the perception is wrong. Not only that, in any news national channel, national broadcasting, when we speak about Hollywood, we mention actors by name. Everything that is quoted from Hollywood or from art, and it's quoted by name. When it comes to scientists, they are in a group, anonymous people. Scientists said that. Scientists said that. So they are behind anonymity. So they are kind of anonymous, fluid structure that nobody knows, but they have a name, science. Okay? So this is something that we're trying to change. We are trying to bring people, individuals, into recognition, not as a group. Sure, as a group we respect each other. And starting to the P that you mentioned, paradise, that is also intentional. So we are, for scientists and engineers, a gift for them. We are offering the best places in the world because they deserve it, but also we are assuring good prices, good deals to the hotel, five-star hotels on the beach. The prices is, for example, in Phuket about 100 euros per night, which is very affordable, because we know scientists, engineers work hard, get credit less, but they are paid less compared to lawyers, compared to other professions, unfortunately, and this is something that we are trying to change it also. So these are all components of SIPS. And then being in a nice place is another factor, another dimension. Being in a nice place where all fields of science are in one roof, in a background of paradise, as you mentioned, peace, paradise, then this is an incentive, this is an inspiration, this is in order to develop new ideas. It will develop when you are happy, and we develop you interact with mathematicians, with engineers, with scientists of different fields, with lawyers, with very important lawyers. So we forget about that, because that's why I have a symposium on law. And with doctors, now we have 3 symposiums this time, medical related symposia, because it's part of life. As I said, there is no distinction. Well, there is a distinction still. There is an Academy of Science and Academy of Medicine. If you think about that, you draw the conclusion that medicine is not science, or is a different kind of science. There is the artificial distinction that doesn't make sense. So that we are bringing together, we have 3 symposia with oxidative stress, we have technologies in medicine. There is no medical fields today not based in physics and chemistry. Forget about it. So it's physics and chemistry and all other that makes possible the modern medicine. Actually, making medicine modern.
By the end of the day, it's materials, as Professor Das said.
Materials.
Right,
that's the other part of it. It's physics, chemistry, materials. So everything. So that's why that's intentional, bringing them together, but bringing them in a very nice place, interacting. We have a dinner and show every single night. So it's not just you go give a presentation, go in the hotel room, you don't know what to do. No, it is every night you speak. You bridge. We build bridges between cultures, between countries, between fields of science, and when you become like a family and a friends, you develop new ideas. You develop new multi-dimensional, multi-country cooperating projects, and SIPS is known about this. Every single year in SIPS, it's the basis of creation of new, cooperation projects around the world. So this paradise is not only respect for scientists, but also it's functional to bring new ideas, to feel happy, and to make it to increase the efficiency. 3 criteria for sustainability: develop the economy, protect the environment, increase the quality of human life. So this is the SIPS. So this is we forget quality of human life, and scientists need a higher quality of human lives and higher respect in the society, because it's not sustainable otherwise. That's why we need to educate the younger generation to come in science more than in the other fields. But scientists need lawyers also. It doesn't mean that you have to go to study law. Scientists need law. Law needs technology. Today is
exactly.
We cannot think. So everything
interacts. Everything is connected.
That's SIPS.
Yeah,
the 360 degrees. So that, and P, that paradise, is an important part of this, because it's quality of life.
Exactly.
And this is and you can show where we are going. I think we have another video on that.
Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to show where we are going, and right after we come back from the video, I'm going to ask Professor Das how good it is to work in an environment like this, in an atmosphere like what we're going to have at SIP. So with you, the P for paradise. Well, that's it. It sure does stand for paradise, don't you agree, Professor Das? How important is it to be there for 5 days discussing about science, technology, networking, and sustainability? I mean, what do you?
Yes, look, thanks for asking these very important key questions. As we have seen that, the scientists, I and my colleagues, we sit behind the scene, and we do our what we so-called research, development, deployment, implementation, commercialization. A large part of that is behind the scene. But however, what we see, the key thing for success in science and technology is that magic word we call networking. And this networking means we can't just be developing things, we can't just be doing activities behind the scene and not tell people what we are doing. So to be able to communicate, to be able to disseminate our finding, to be able to exchange ideas with like-minded colleagues and collaborate with complementary colleagues, like who can bring other ideas, different attributes to our own research in a collaborative fashion is the key thing. And that's why we need to get together, we need to meet other scientists, engineers. And that's how what we can say, I was mentioning this technology readiness level. So a technology from a germination, from a seed, can become a large tree through this collaboration, networking, exchange of ideas, assistance, help, and collaboration between each other, and such symposiums like SIPS actually enables that. So when you bring in all these scientists from multiphysics, multiscale fields, from all walks of life, into one place, and yes, P for Paradise. Obviously, our interaction, our friendliness, our expressions, and exposure to others will be improved if we have a nice environment, isn't it? It's always true. Human beings respond to external stimuli. That is our characteristics. And if that external stimuli is nice, like Dr. Kongoli mentioned, in a resort, in a relaxed atmosphere, ample opportunity to talk and network with each other. That just helps the exchange of ideas, interaction, and collaborations. So which is very key and a key component of scientific and technological innovation. So I would say SIPS, SIPS would be, sustainable innovation in paradise. So that would how I would mark this and how important it is.
That's a great idea for a new branding, Dr. Florian.
That's very good, actually. I like that.
Paradise.
Yeah.
With scientists. The S would be for, well, we still did the S, but this was perfect. Well, as I always say, some of the greatest minds together. And you were talking about the cell phone. I remembered one thing. In Rio de Janeiro, I had the honor of talking to 3 Nobel Prizes that, well, maybe more, but I mean, I met 3 that had a lot to do with this, in different, that at the first look might look like independent findings. But as you, Dr. Florian, and Professor Das said, they end up melting and forming something else. Professor Stoddard with nanotechnology, Professor, then you remind me that the years that they were the Nobel Prizes. Yes, they won the Nobel Prize. The second was Professor Andre Geim with the graphene,
which is,
and the third
being applied all today in the screens.
Exactly. And Dr. Sheckman about quasi-crystals also. Because so at SIPS, of course, besides them, many others, hundreds of scientists that, as you said, don't get the adequate recognition from society. As you said, you say scientists as it's like almost an existent subject. Yes, it comes so. It's very important. This kind of.
Well, what we see in politics today, it's a good advancement. They say, okay, we take science-based decision. Okay, it's good because they say sometimes it's just lip service, but that's okay. The issue is they forget to see the science as a solution provider. I mentioned Germany. Okay, let's close down because of the risk and well, where is science? Science is subject of science. The risk and waste processing.
Exactly.
So you forget science, not a solution provider. Okay, we take science-based decisions. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but it's okay. But this is half of the story.
Yeah.
Science is not. I have an article about this. Science is not, only, diagnostic. It's not a diagnostic tool. It is, but this is half. Is 50% of the role. The 50% of the role is a solution provider.
Exactly.
And if you forget that, that's a different story.
And Dr. Kongoli, also, you have to understand that when we talk about so-called success, it could be political success, it could be business success. When our policymakers, our lawmakers, our policy makers and politicians, they develop the strategy, they call it business success. It means different thing for different people, right? But to me, look, in the context of our research developments in science and engineering, the success means, the potential implementation and use of our research to the benefit of the society and to strengthen the economy, which is the key thing. In particular, it means for my research, of course, I focus on production of safer, stronger, and durable aircraft and spacecraft structures. However, what SIP also is providing us, so we scientific community, it does mean a recognition of the value and significance of the work which we put in, which in turn further motivates and encourages, us, me and my team, to continue the industry-focused, applied research, application-focused, real-life application benefits for a range of applications and industry, which will directly impact our quality of life, our society, our economy, and the future of next generation. So this is what SIP will enable us. This symposium will enable us to do by bringing all these scientists and technologists and engineers from different fields under one roof, and that's probably it's a wonderful thing. So I would like to really, I'm very keen. I'm looking forward to it. And I would like to pre-thank, Dr. Kongoli, for organizing this symposium for a long time. This symposium is really sustainable. I can see that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'd like to thank Dr. Florian Kongoli and Professor Raj Das. This has been an amazing conversation. Yes, thank you for the opportunity again, Dr. Florian.
Yeah, thank you.
And it's as I said, we have here today Professor Raj Das. Yes, he's the co-chair of the Trovalusci International Symposium, Multiscale and Multiphysics Modeling of Complex Materials. His biography, I almost got short in breath. You're going to find here in the description, together with the link to the symposium and the links to Flogen Star Outreach website, and also TV Onda Azul. Since this is a joint production between Flogen Star Outreach and TV Onda Azul from Cabo Frio, Brazil, it's an honor having you guys. And I would like to have the final consideration here for Professor Raj Das. We are at the end of our show now. So I would like you to
First of all, thank you very much, Mr. Linhares, and also Dr. Kongoli for having me in this show. It's my pleasure to share not only my own research in aerospace industry, but also my vision for the next generation technology, engineering, and development, and how symposiums like SIPS can bring us together and help us to work as a team, as a global team, to contribute to our common goal of sustainability and for a better future and for a better world. So thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Professor Raj Das and Dr. Florian.
Yeah, well, so bringing together, we are speaking here. We are, let's come and meet each other in person after 2 years COVID isolation and see each other. Scientists are living human beings. they are not. They should not be behind the scenes. Sure that the work is behind the scenes, but they are open at SIPS. Everything is open. So you will enjoy meeting Dr. Das, Professor Das, enjoying meeting everybody there. So, and you do not need the invitation, by the way. Sure, if you need the invitation, I'm going to send it to you. But it is any discovery, any achievement you think that you have done, any discovery you came through. So you are welcome to present. You just send an abstract. We still are accepting abstracts for a limited time. So it is open for everybody. There is no censor. SIPS does not take sides. It's a platform for everything as long as it's scientific and respectful. Everybody is welcomed with their own theories. If it is a theory that sometimes even those that are not sure it is good or not bad, or is bad or good, is successful or not successful, it does not hurt to come and present it and have even criticism. Science, failing in science is not a shame. So, a famous scientist used to say you have to fail 10 times to succeed 10 times. But when you have cooperation, when you have criticism, when you have discussions, in formal and informal, these 10 times failing to succeed on the 11 times, it's shortened. Probably you have to fail 4 times and you succeed on the 5th time, because you have the synergy, because you have the different points of view at the same place. So everybody is welcome. No censor. We are open to all ideas, all technologies, all developments, all fields of modeling. So welcome, and you will enjoy and get out. Everybody that comes to SIPS, and then the last day, it is when they are preparing to go home. Everybody feels sad going home because they want to stay more. Well, sure, we are giving more possibilities. This is another gift to scientists. So the special rates of the hotel are valid 5 days before, up to 5 days before, after, and 5 days after. Because SIPS is top science, 50 symposia. This is deep science in each of them, and then the sustainability brings them together like the spine is sustainability, and the vertebrae are different fields of science that come together. But since it is it is a very intense program. Sometimes people do not have time to enjoy, and we have many examples like that. They say people cannot understand that actually we are in paradise, but we're starting working at 7 and finish at 11 p.m. in the morning, at night. But because it's so intensive, and so people get carried away with discussing science. And then that's why we're giving the option that they can stay for vacation 5 days after, before 5 days after, to enjoy the beauty. Sure, they can enjoy the beauty because we have social programs and etc. But this is an extra. So everybody enjoys, and everybody comes back. Everybody is welcome.
Excellent. Well, today's show was excellent. Thank you very much, Professor Raj Das, Dr. Florian Kongoli, again.
Thank you. I look forward to see Dr. Kongoli and all of you in SIPS, but not in a remote mode, in person.
No, we're going to be in person, and we're going to announce this. I've been talking to Dr. Florian. We haven't defined all the details, but we're going to have like a studio in Thailand, and we're going to have like while SIPS is working from 8 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon, while there are plenaries and the symposia, we are going to have an open video and microphone when we're going to be talking. I want you to sit there with us, and we're going to have a discussion. Maybe Dr. Florian will be there. I cannot guarantee at this discussion, but we're going to have other scientists talking about this integration of science, this integration of technology, all towards sustainability. Because as you said, it starts with sustainability. And if you like the theme, if you like science, technology, sustainability, engineering, please leave, just subscribe to the channel, leave your link to the video, leave your comment here, suggest maybe other topics that we might discuss. Copy the link and send to your friends. It's very important to promote this subject, sustainability through science and technology. Well, I'm Mario Linhares, and before we say goodbye, I'm going to play the final video here, but I would like to say goodbye to our guests and to you, and let's watch a little bit more about SIPS of Science. Well, from Cabo Frio in the state of Rio de Janeiro, I'm Mario Linhares. It was a pleasure having you guys. Bye-bye. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.